Booyaka, booyaka. Your homie Jay Green is back right now with another review. My God, he on a roll. It's only been two, so don't get too excited. Now, listen to this. Earlier this year, probably about like 4 or 5 months ago, there was a movie that came out called I really enjoyed that movie. Tits, ass, who don't want it, baby? This guy right here. Now, in that movie, I have a review on my channel. Check it out. But in that movie, I gave it a stellar review. I said it was great. It was kind of a throwback to the old school swag. Directed by Ty West, starred Mia Goth, Kid Cudi, a couple other people, right? Young cats going around with a slightly older dude. They're going to make a highbrow, sophisticated prono. You dig what I'm saying? This movie, Pearl, is a prequel to that movie. Now, straight off the top, that movie original was directed and written by Ty West alone. This movie directed by Ty West, but was also written by not only Ty West, but Mia Goth, the star of that previous film. This movie, being a prequel, kind of gives us a little understanding to where Pearl, the main old chick in that original X movie, who was played by Mia Goth in makeup, kind of came from. Her origin story, if you will. Now, this is pretty fly for a couple of reasons. One, because we're getting a quote-unquote sequel prequel, right, to a movie that I enjoyed, but within the same year, so I don't have to wait for it that long. That's fly in of itself. Two, that original film had a very interesting premise, something I've never really seen before, so it was kind of original, right? And it was also a throwback to old school style films, which also have their very own uniqueness. But now, that movie coming from a man's perspective, who was the writer, the director, but now also writing and written by Mia Goth in this movie, has a more of a perspective of Pearl's character, the female, in why did she turn into the type of person that she turned into that we saw in the movie previous. And I thought that was fly as fuck. Okay, so when you're watching this movie, Pearl, we're understanding why she is the way that she is. Why does she want to be a big star? What made her want to be that way? What made her not really be happy with being on this farm, if you will? Maybe not content with the life that she was leading. Why she's still at this age in the movie X, still at this age looking for more. Why is she envious of these young people and what they're doing? We're kind of getting that understanding in this film. This movie, I would consider it to be a slow burn throughout, but a slow burn with constant tension, if you will. In the original X movie, you can consider it being a slow burn with a couple twists and turns, and then towards the end of it, you're like, oh shit, it's really hitting the fan, right? But in this film, it's a slow burn, but I say that it has tension throughout because there's moments where you're waiting for her to break. You're waiting for her to crack. Maybe she does. Maybe she doesn't. But what she's saying is leading you to this moment that it's about to happen any second now. And the characters that she's encountering, you don't dislike them, but some of them you're also wondering, are they going to lead her down a road where she's going to crack and break and just go crazy? But then maybe they do, and then maybe they don't. I'm not going to tell you what jumps off in this movie because I feel like you really need to watch it. And based on the lunacy that takes place, the crazy thoughts that this girl has, and the way that she portrays these things on screen, look, I'm going to straight say, if she don't get even talked about when it comes to Oscar performances, then I think we might have really missed the mark here. Okay, now it's technically early in Oscar season, if you will. A lot of the Oscar type performances start coming out around this time, September through October, November, and so on and so forth, right? So it is kind of early in that time. But I really do think that based on what we're seeing, the fact that, you know, Mia Goth helped write this movie, the acting quality in this film, and again, when you can tie in story, emotion, and maybe thought processes of women in her position, given the time of when this movie takes place and what she's dealing with, when you can tie that all in together, I think that you just really got to kind of pay attention to it, and you got to throw her in the mix. This movie takes place during like maybe like World War I, World War II, sometime after that or whatever like this. I can't remember exactly, but she's basically on the farm. She got to take care of her dad. Her mom is kind of like, you know, look, you ain't shit. You ain't going to be this type of dancer or type of performer that you want to be. It's not going to happen. And, you know, she's married. but her guy is away at war and she's like kind of stuck here waiting for him. And, she meets someone in town that kind of shows her the pictures. That's what they're called at this time because there's not sound with the movies. So they just call them the pictures. And she's like, I really want to be this person up on the big screen, the silver screen, dancing and doing this. And I really want to be that. And, she kind of sees what this life outside of her life can be. And that's kind of where she gets that inspiration. And all of these influences are making her feel a type of way. And it's only a matter of time before she breaks down and can't take it anymore. And that's where we get Pearl. So I would encourage you to go watch this movie as soon as you can. Check it out on a big screen with a live audience that can give you that visceral response, that audible response in the theater when she's doing some of the stuff that she's doing, because it's freaking wild. It's crazy. It's entertaining. And I think it just adds more. If you didn't really care for X, I think if you thought it was like, okay, maybe it's not for everybody. It's not for everybody, and this movie is not for everyone either. But I think if you thought X was okay, I think this might give you a little bit more to what X was. And if you were like me and you really enjoyed X, I think it's going to give you a lot more. Stay to the end of the credits because it's got a little something extra for you. But I think this is definitely worthy of a trip to the theater. All I'm going to tell you right now, because I'm not going to tell you anything about the movie other than what I just said, but all I will tell you right now is that Ty West and Mia Goth together have put something to screen that we haven't seen in some time. We're talking about acting, dialogue, and story. She goes on this 3 to 5 minute monologue where it's just really engaging. And then after said monologue, some stuff jumps off. But the way that Ty West directs this scene, the tension in it, some stuff is about to jump off. Oh, it's so good. It was a fun ass movie, y'all, for real. Go check this movie out in the cinema. It was great. I enjoyed it. It was awesome to have a movie come out so quickly after its predecessor. But anyways, that's all I got for you right now. Your homie, Jay Green, I'm out.